In 2006, an 11-year-old kid named John decided to make his first game. He knew just enough about how Flash works to be able to make a game out of that. Inspired by Pico School and the Madness series, John started to make Madness School. That idea quickly dried up, and Madness School became Riddle School and was released on Newgrounds after 3 weeks of work. What John didn't know when releasing this game was that this game, a point-and-click escape game made by an 11-year-old, would spawn one of the biggest and most beloved Flash franchises of all time. I have been dying to talk about this franchise for about half a year now, so I think right now is the best time to do it. The Riddle School series is a phenomenon in more ways than one. Riddle School 1. RS1 is easily the most simple game in the franchise. After escaping from Mr. Calm, it's pretty much just a straight shot to the right where you enter 2 other rooms on the side. Graphically, this is really impressive for John's age. It definitely has its own style that most people think is ugly, but I think it's filled with charm. There's still some remnants of Madness School dotted throughout the game too. The blackboard in Mr. Calm's room says Mathness, and some objects are purely in black and white because that's what everything originally was before being colored. The cutscene with Mr. Question is funny. The entire game just oozes personality. The writing, for the time, was good. Everything about this game is just really solid, although the puzzles are really bare bones. Fred, Smiley, and Zach also make their first appearance in Miss Kofi's class as just students. The cafeteria and men's bathroom serve no purpose to the progression, but it just shows how much effort John put into this game. The very short loop of Madness 6 can get repetitive, but the game is so short that it really does not matter. This is easily the most simple Riddle School, and it has a reason to be. It doesn't necessarily hold up to later installments, but it's still an extremely respectable and good first game. Riddle School, upon release, didn't gain much traffic. The people that played it enjoyed it, and John was satisfied with the game, so he started making a sequel. He spent a bit working on it, but didn't manage to finish it. 5 months later, in November of 2006, he picked the game back up again and actually managed to finish it this time. This is Riddle School 2. Okay, now we're talking. Riddle School 2 is an insane improvement on the first game. First of all, the puzzles are way better. For example, needing to loosen up the rusted vent with slide roll is clever. Needing to click behind the cookie machine to plug it in is cool. The dialogue is a lot better and way funnier. Fred actually does something to help Phil escape. Smiley and Zach still just kind of exist for the sake of being there, but that's how they are for a vast majority of the franchise, so it's not a problem. Everything is just such a vast improvement on the first game, it's actually insane. Stuff like the fact that there's now a bunch of posters on the walls, which will become a theme throughout the franchise, just shows how much attention to detail was put in. Unrealized ideas from Riddle School 1, like the cookie machine needing to be fixed, ended up in this game instead as well. There's still rooms which serve no purpose to the progression of the story. Miss Green's room serves no purpose, but it's cool that it's here. Once again, just shows how much John cared when making the game. The I Didn't Trace drum set is funny. There are a ton more cutscenes than the first. Stuff like giving Josh the toilet paper or giving Chubb the cookie have their own cutscene now. Characters that were referenced in the first Riddle School but didn't actually show up are here now, like Five, who's just sleeping in the office for some reason. The opposite holds true as well. Greg, who was a sleeping kid in the cafeteria in the first game, is now referenced through Mrs. Sleep, who is canonically related to him via a line of dialogue in Riddle School 3. And the special features of Riddle School 4. The music is way better this time. It's a loop of Final Fight by Paragon X9. Really, any Riddle School game has a better soundtrack than the first, but this one's a very good improvement. If anything, this game is what truly set the foundation for all the games to come. While RS1 kickstarted everything, RS2 is where Riddle School truly becomes Riddle School. Unlike Riddle School 1, the second game actually ended up being a big hit on Newgrounds. This time, the fans really wanted another continuation, so John started work on a third game. He made the first room and the first hallway room, and then gave up. The motivation he had was completely lost. John wanted to do other things instead of just making point-and-click escape games. 2007 came and went, and Riddle School 3 was pretty much dead. Until one day, John just randomly got his motivation back and started work again on Riddle School 3, this time actually managing to finish it in March of 2008. Okay, Riddle School 3. There are a lot of references in this one. Just some examples being the angry face locker, the Newgrounds poster, that's what the panda said, fancy pants, and face on. Remember when I said that Riddle School 2 expanded on the first one tenfold? Well, the same thing applies here. Riddle School 3 is insane. The game is over double as long as the first two combined, the dialogue is way better again, the puzzles are a lot more fleshed out and complicated, there's actually multiple steps to them now. In 1 and 2, you would just use one item on one thing. Here, for example, you have to get Mrs. Oddverb in her room to get the combination to Richie's locker and then unlock it. That's a lot more complicated than just giving Josh his toilet paper in RS2. The school now also has a second floor, the posters are just as good as the ones from RS2, the Blobbles code is fantastic, I love it. Miss Count in her monkey room, even though she hates monkeys, is great. The How to Read book is a really funny Easter egg. The fact that, unlike the principals from RS1 and 2, Mr. Potato is just playing video games is really funny. The music is once again way better. Blue Sky by Paragon X9 breathes so much energy into the game, and became the most iconic track in the entire franchise. Greg is back. I wonder how he got from the elementary school cafeteria to this one, though, if he's been sleeping for 8 years. Same goes for 5. He's once again just sleeping in the office. Speaking of, the poster of the RS2 main menu poses is a funny little Easter egg. There's also a dialogue option for it. The "Today we are having poo" marquee is hilarious. The fact that Chubb got more character development before Zach and Smiley is kind of a crime, but what do I know? Mrs. Munch is pretty cool. Kinda weird that RS2 is the only one of the first Riddle schools that does not have a cafeteria. The cutscene for trying to enter the girls' bathroom is funny. The fact that you literally have to clog a toilet in this one is interesting. There's a lot of cutscenes in this game. They're a welcome addition, sure, but they definitely slow down the pace of the game, especially when speedrunning, I should know. This was fixed happily in the Legacy Edition released in 2020. This was, as far as I know, the last Riddle School game to use this specific water fountain, which was at the time a running gag. The little Easter egg with the apple in the teacher's lounge and how it's bitten into only after the teachers leave is pretty cool. Yeah, Riddle School 3 is just overall an amazing game, and it's also really impressive that John made this when he was 13. Now, surely there can't be anywhere to go from here, right? Upon release, Riddle School 3 went sort of unrecognized, gaining a daily third on Newgrounds the day after it was released, and getting the front page only 4 months later. However, the fans wanted one final sequel. So far, each Riddle School game has taken place in a different school. RS1 in elementary school, RS2 in middle school, and RS3 in high school. People wanted one final game to take place in college. John saw that and started work on Riddle University, or Riddle School 4. He made the first room and then once again stopped having no motivation. Deja vu! However, unlike RS3, he could not get the motivation back to finish Riddle School 4. He stated in a post that there would never ever be a Riddle School 4, but people just kept asking. 2009 came and went, but at the start of 2010, he got an idea. He sat down with one of his friends one day in early February and told him, "I'm going to make Riddle School 4. And 2 days later, it was finished. Uh-oh. Yeah, I've been withholding information from you. Even though the game was finished in early February, the game wasn't released until April 1st. Yep, Riddle School 4 is an April Fool's joke. John wanted to shut everyone up about making another sequel, so if Phil was canonically dead, then how could the franchise continue? It was the perfect plan. So, on April 1st, John released Riddle School 4 on Newgrounds, and everyone went insane over it. And that is how the Riddle School series ended. For one entire day, that is. Riddle School 5. So, what's the explanation behind this one? John wanted not to only end the franchise for good, but then continue to make a bunch of really shitty games to bloat the franchise with unnecessary random sequels. He started Riddle School 5 with that intention, but it ended up being the series finale as John worked on it more and more to make it the true finale to the franchise, with Riddle School 4 just being a plot device to get there. I know that I said that Riddle School 3 is amazing. This is like 10 times more insane. First of all, I need to explain some plot because this one is far more complicated than just escaping a regular school building. So, because of us escaping school all the way back in RS1, some aliens decided that Earth is worth destroying and planted a time bomb outside. When we escaped, the aliens froze time, abducted Phil, Fred, Smiley, and Zach, and fed them dreams that were just like reality. The only way they could wake up was by being killed, hence Phil dying in Riddle School 4 woke him up, and now we have to escape and save Earth. We went from escaping elementary school to this. I love this game. It's so much weirder and funnier and charming and everything. After having written all of the previous parts of the script, writing about Riddle School 4 and this is such a breath of fresh air. I fully feel for John, man. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, the actual game. Most of Riddle School 5 is just one big puzzle with Oswald the monster. It's a really complicated one, but I honestly feel like it, I honestly like it a lot more than just the scattershot coin hunts of Riddle School 2 and 3. Now that we're in space and logic is basically thrown out the window, John managed to experiment with much more complex and fun ideas for puzzles. Stuff like the life transferring station is a super cool idea. The tile device is stupid though, and basically just memorization. It halts the pace so much until you fully memorize how to do it. The putting the steak in the tray with dirt is dumb, but I can let it slide as it does have some logic. Little Easter eggs if you try to look under Smiley and Fred's beds, it's funny. The music is my second favorite track of the franchise. Dark Seaside by Waterflame fits this game perfectly. The finale music is also cool, but I forgot what that one's called. The posters in the room with acid are funny. The sentence one especially is really fun. Same holds true for the flower room, that one's also funny with the posters. The fact that every light bulb has a different dialogue option is so cool, and once again just shows how much John cared. After getting past Oswald, we enter the dream stages. This is such a cool idea. First of all, Zach's dream, Riddle School 2. First of all, everything has different dialogue, which is cool. Second of all, this Phil model. This isn't the same Phil model from RS2, but rather the model from a cancelled Riddle School game called Riddle Manor. Zach is the easiest to kill, just pushing him over and shattering him. Next, Smiley's dream, Riddle School 3. New dialogue, cool, the rest are the same. Kill Smiley by making her eat the globe. Christ, John. Okay, that one was simple. Just Fred left. Riddle School 4. This is a fun one. Every piece of dialogue here was originally meant for Riddle School 4 when it wasn't an April Fool's joke, and killing Fred by making him sit in your spot and wear your hoodie is really clever, and that's all of them. But of course, that's not the end of the game, because we get caught, and after a super long exposition scene detailing what I just explained at the beginning of this part of the video, we are thrown into one final puzzle gauntlet. First of all, tile device again, piss off. The anti-gravity gimmick is just a way of locking some puzzles behind the tile device, so screw you for that. Not much else to say here. The last thing we have to do is click this wheel, and that is Riddle School 5. We kill the alien overlord, and now Diz flies everyone back to Earth. Zach is no longer cold, we get a nice little message, and the credits start playing. And that is the end of the Riddle School series. Now, there surely is no way to continue. This is an amazing ending and one of the best and most well-made Flash games of all time. Following this up would just destroy the impact that this game has as an ending. Right? Well, yeah, Riddle School 5 was deemed the best in the series unambiguously. Everyone liked it. And John did too. But then, in October of 2010, John had a great idea. He would make an entire new follow-up series of another 5 games. He thought of making all of them, then releasing them over a spread-out period of time so that people won't ask for more continuations, so he started work. Turns out, this first game in this new series took him 6 entire months. The other games that had ridiculous wait times like RS3 were only so long because John had no motivation. This time he did. He spent 6 full months developing the game, finally finishing it in June of 2011. Instead of spending more time between installments by developing the remaining 4, he decided to just release what he had made and then work on the other 4 in the background. This is Riddle Transfer. This might be my favorite Flash game of all time. So Riddle Transfer. The entire premise for this game is that when coming back home to Earth in their gigantic alien spaceship of death, Phil and his buddies would get captured by Area 51. I love this idea, and it was executed pretty much as perfect as it can possibly be. The entire facility has 5 floors, with each one having a different member of the gang trapped in it. Along with that, there's also a special little creature in each one. This is easily the most complicated Riddle School game. There is just so much stuff on each floor, and there's so much you have to string together. On top of that, pretty much no item is out in the open either. There's the hose in Messy's room, but that's really it. I think it would make the most sense to go floor by floor for this one. Starting off with the bottom floor, B2. This is the floor with Messy and the guard door. I like the fact that Messy's just depressed and angry at everyone for being put in this landfill, as she calls it. Talking to her gains us a keycard to the power room. The star pun is also very funny. I like it. B1 is the floor of Yeti. Oh, and yeah, and Fred, that too. The power room is fun. It contains curvy lines and a pipe puzzle. Oh, and the game that Mr. Potato was playing all the way back in RS3, so that's cool. Solving the pipe puzzle helps flush Messy down the sewer and get her out. Now we can steal his hat. The snowman, or Yeti, is probably the funniest little creature in this game. His facial expressions and dialogue are so funny, and the reaction to Phil making a pun is just comedy gold. He also wants hair, so that's something we probably might need to remember. F1! This is the floor of Smiley. When we enter her room, yeah, she has hair now. Also, she just knows the password to a cell door, so that's cool. If only it didn't miss the number 3. If only we can get the number 3 from somewhere. Oh wait, we can. Sick. Well, that's one done, only 3 left. Big Toe wants fancy hats. He's also very squishable to me for some reason. We have Messy's hat, but it doesn't quite work. F2 is the floor we were on at the beginning of the game. Goatman is here, and he wants grass. Fun fact, this goat is from a comic named Goat 51, and was made by one of John's friends, Graham Nordell. Sure, he won't show up later. The last floor is F3. This is the floor Zach is on. He's also on fire now. He gives us a stupid math problem for his code of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oops, we can't get him off the ceiling. He's allergic to daisies, but we can't really get those from anywhere in here. Well, the Fine Lounge is probably my favorite part of this game looks-wise. It has a tube and chlorophyll, and also cereal. Using the hose on it gives Goatman some grass and also grows daisies for some reason. That was easy. The last animal is Flying Pig. The only thing which seems to be preventing him from escaping is a wooden board. If only we could burn it with something. I'm not making this joke again. Ooh, feathers. Cool, I have Fred's dial pad now. Fred also knows his code, so thank Christ, and that is everyone. Quick intermission so I can talk about the music. Cold Hope by Game Balance is my favorite track of the entire franchise. Everything about it only complements the game and is amazing in every way. Okay, back to narration. The guard door is funny with his lines, but sadly he must be turned off for us to be able to advance to the final room of the game. Diz. The puzzles here are really cool. The geometric one is my favorite because there's just so many ways to do it, and the order, basically. It's honestly a really cool idea for a puzzle, and it's also really fun to speedrun. The rhombus one is simple, the dot one is literally 3 clicks, and the math one is piss easy. And that is it. I know I haven't said much about the game besides explaining every puzzle, but really the entire focus of Riddle Transfer is the unique setting and the puzzles. The dialogue to me also peaked here. The creatures on every floor are a joy to talk to, same with Phil, Fred, and Smiley. The entire game is just so masterfully realized and super fun. The best soundtrack in the entire franchise, and that holds true for the entire game, at least for me. It is by far and away my favorite Riddle School game, and one of, if not my favorite Flash game of all time. Anyway, let's get out of here. And this is the cliffhanger that we were left with for 5 years. I'm not going to go into much detail about everything since John himself already explained it in his Riddle Transfer 2 developer commentary, and I'll just link that into the description. Key point is, the Riddle Transfer series was cancelled, and this cliffhanger was what we remained with for 5 years. Until 2016, that is. On May 26th of that year, the 10th anniversary of Riddle School 1 would have occurred. And John wanted to wrap up the series, so for the 10th anniversary, he released the final ever Riddle School game, Riddle Transfer 2. Alright, let's do this. The first room is pretty neat, the puzzles are pretty creative and don't overstay their welcome. Now, time for the real meat and potatoes of this. Like Riddle Transfer 1, this game is almost entirely one long puzzle. The throwing the gum at the electrical blocks is dumb, but sure. In my opinion, just throwing water at the lasers makes more sense. The heating up the bucket with Zack is really creative, I love it. Genuinely one of my favorite puzzles in the game, I think. Like, the entire franchise, possibly. That's just so fucking clever and cool. Nitwood being here ties everything together, that's pretty neat. The music is great again. Clockworks by Tecmo X is a great choice for what this game is, and it fits perfectly. The cafeteria is finally used for something. Richie's a douche, but I feel like that was kind of a given. Just everything about this is an amazing final school escape. Quiz being the villain makes perfect sense, and I love it. Everything about this is just the best possible ending that John could have chosen. Okay, one really long cutscene later, we're outside, Quiz is good now, and all is well. Except it isn't, because Diz is fucking evil. So we tell Smiley we'll like her smile, and then leave to fucking sacrifice ourselves to save Earth. This is a great final room. All the puzzles are callbacks, and by that I mean one of them is. The Viz one is a nod to the Rhombus puzzle from Riddle Transfer, Diz's puzzle is unique, and Quiz's puzzle is also unique, but pretty close to either the tile devices or the pipe puzzle from Riddle School 5, respectively Riddle Transfer 1. The final cutscene with Quiz sacrificing himself to save Phil and all of Earth is wholesome, but I also feel nothing for him, as if he wasn't just evil 5 minutes ago, so whatever. Just the entire ship section is just an amazing final puzzle gauntlet for this franchise, I just love it. What's really special, however, is what follows. Phil finally smiling for the first time at the very end of the franchise is gold. The entire photo album is just undescribable. The piano remix of Blue Sky, Dark Seaside, and Orange, accompanied with images of Phil growing up, is the best way to wrap the franchise up. Just everything about Riddle Transfer 2 was made to be an ending, and it succeeds beautifully. From the puzzles being complicated but not the hardest ever, to the final cutscene, oh my god, it's just so great. And that's it. This is the last mainline Riddle School game. But of course there's more. There always was. Okay, let's do this one quick. The fan games. Return to Riddle School is the most well-known and by far best one. It was made by Graham Noodle and is a remake of Riddle School 1. This one is just really good and pretty much stands toe-to-toe with all the mainline ones. Puzzle School 1 and Puzzle School 2 are scratch games made by Rubik's Dude 10. They're nice. Puzzle School 1 is just reverse Riddle School, because in Riddle School 1 you go from left to right. In Puzzle School 1 you go from right to left. Puzzle School 2 is more of its own thing. But they're just overall nice games. For anyone who's finished the franchise and wants more, these 3 fan games are nice little extra things, and they're well made. They're nothing groundbreaking, but they are well made games, and they do feel like a worthy addition for people who have finished the franchise. And that is it. We are officially done. I love Riddle School to death. Every entry has its own personality, and every game past the first has great puzzles with some slight exceptions. The dialogue is super funny throughout the whole franchise, and the character development is also a nice touch on top. Everything from Riddle School 5 onwards exceeds any and all expectations for a Flash game because they're just all so good. Fun fact, the source file for Riddle Transfer 1 was so big that Flash could barely handle it. I took that from the special features in Riddle Transfer 1 Legacy Edition. Thank you for watching this entire video. I know it was a really long one, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.